They're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for joining us. It is indeed a terrific Thursday, and at 12:30, hoping to have the excellent company of the Honourable Opposition Leader join us. But between now and then, there's some little special thing that we're hoping to be able to inform you relative to our financial sector. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email Talk Today at candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow,
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. We invite you to be a part of our discussion on our phones. We get a chance, hopefully, to be able to talk to you about some of the happenings over at Scotiabank. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255 is our numbers that we allow, sort of access to on a very regular basis. We'll even pick up the calls, compliments of Flow in some respects, and in others, simple, very inexpensive call to join the discussion and let your voices heard, to participate in this evolving democracy. 12:30, the Honourable Ezra Miller hopefully will get a chance to join us for a bit. It's Thursdays, and we always look forward to Wednesdays and Thursdays, to get the perspective from the government through its ministries, departments, portfolios, and the like. And then on Thursdays, from the opposition. And someone said to me this morning, he said, "Man, you should ask me on Fridays, He says, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Pick the day you decide which one falls on." Anyway, some people share things, and you realize that it's part in jest, and others, they're not necessarily being as jovial as you think. But people have fun nonetheless. Hey, what's on your mind? And as we invite you to share your thoughts with us, go right ahead. Be a part of our programming, because it is that much better because of you. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255 or 1-800-534-8255. 1-800-534-8255. That's the number that we have, and use it to call us here on Talk Today. Certainly the same number to use to call Mr. Hart in the mornings for the record. It's always enjoyable to listen to the morning programs, and if you get a chance to hear the Business Buzz, you see some of the increasing things that are happening within our community, whether it's a focus on some of the investment conferences that attract international acclaim, to the small emerging established businesses, to that growing entity that's been around for a long time and now trying to ensure that it continues for even longer. And that's the spirit of the community, the strength in many respects, but also that sense of resolve. And Father was sharing that he set up a business some time back, got a chance to either expand the business by taking on other investors, partners, or perhaps just selling outright. And on one hand, the investors coming on board could take the business in a different direction. Would he want to give up control? Would it be an opportune time to share some of the responsibility, the headaches, the hassles? Yes, of course, the profits, but also the risk. And likewise, he says, well, if you wait up, if you sell it, as a buck in your pocket, you can do something else. Maybe time for a change. And as he's talking to, his financial advisor, speaking to the bank, do you look at the sale of the business and what potentially is a significant windfall? There's no guarantee what tomorrow will hold. There's no guarantee that the business will continue to be prosperous. So is a bird in the hand worth two in the bush, as it were? And as he's weighing that, he's thinking, what about the other individual? And he shared with us, it's probably a story very similar to some of our other established businesses. We're trying to get established in the early days. Where do you get money? Borrowed from family and friends. Maybe you had a little savings, perhaps a piece of property that you sold because you believed in this thing. Maybe you wanted to be in your mind, have a little mechanic shop or some other trade, and you believed in what you could do and believed the market was there. So you started out. Maybe it was a piece of property and you thought I could make money on it by putting down some sort of commercial, light industrial business. Now, he was sharing that, unfortunately, trying to get established, even when the government may make it easier relative to the reduced fees or the less systems and bureaucracies that you may have to jump through in order to get properly licensed and regulated. Sometimes the financing, sometimes the other approvals are always, challenging. But how do you see it? 949-8037, 949-8037, or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Of course, you can WhatsApp 925-3261, and we always, invite you and welcome your participation with us. So if you choose, you can email talktoday@candw.ky. And as we look at it, it's always a challenge. So we hit our phones now, Miss Susan, with our folks from Scotiabank. All right, so Mr. Willie Hurlston Cruz joins us. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
How are you today?
All good, all good.
All right.
How's everything at the radio station?
Well, listen, man, as you've seen, the diligence, the perseverance, persistence, and professionalism of people like Ms. Susan and Ms. Kathy here, it is absolutely fantastic, man. So I'm glad that we were able to connect up and have you join us for a few minutes.
Awesome. I'm glad to be here.
Mm-hmm. Now, we're looking at our financial sector generally, and we're recognizing that not only are companies repositioning, not only are we seen globally as a force to be reckoned with, but regionally and even locally, our banking sector. And we're glad to hear some of the interesting evolving things over at Scotiabank, especially in the digital space. You've made some changes. We'll be interested to hear more from you as you tell us about some of the new initiatives we have.
Awesome. Well, yeah, there's a lot of exciting things happening here at Scotiabank in our digital space. Most importantly, right now we're focusing on two initiatives that our customers could benefit from. The first being our Scotiabank Alerts, which has been rolled out across the Caribbean for our debit and credit card transactions. So basically, Scotiabank Alerts is a new feature within our online and mobile banking platforms, which customers have the ability to receive timely and real-time important notifications regarding transaction activity on their accounts. So the benefits are like people will see any type of activity going on in their account, so they keep an eye on it, reducing the chance for potential frauds, or if you want to maintain an eye on, let's say if you had like a joint account with your child or something, and you want to keep an eye on their spending, you will get notifications, especially catered to whatever, however you set it up. Because there's certain setups to go to it, but they'll give you real-time notifications, just like on the social apps nowadays. You always get these notifications. It's the same thing, just for your bank account. And the best part, it's completely free to all our customers. All right.
Now, when you were sharing with us in relation to the notifications, would that matter whether you were traveling somewhere outside of the jurisdiction? You still get the notifications?
You still get the notifications, and you could also set it to if there's like activity happening on your account, any outside jurisdiction. It will also send you notifications on that as well while you're traveling. So let's say you were going to the United States and then you step from Miami, Florida to Orlando, and then you saw some transactions happening right there, you would get it real time.
Mm-hmm. And you said, as you shared, this is both for the online and mobile banking. Now, the notifications, can they come both either via email or let's assume you have your mobile phone with you, some sort of alert, whether through text or some other app?
Yes, sir. So when you're setting up your alerts, you could choose to get email and a notification on your phone, or just one of them, whichever one you prefer.
And we recognize people are traveling more and more, for business as well as for pleasure, and being able to access the online banking portals are important. When it comes to fraud and unauthorized use of customers' cards, how do you see this being a continued feature for customer security?
Well, it's a great feature because on top of the fact that Scotia has one of the best online and mobile banking platforms on the market with several layers of security, this is just an extra layer that now clients don't have to always have to come in and check on their accounts and then wait till they have their statements to realize there's been some fraudulent activity. Now you get real-time notifications on all transactions, well, depending on your setup. So that will help us be able to react quicker to any fraudulent activity. So the client, as soon as they see something that looks out of the ordinary, could just contact the bank and we could move forward from there. All
right. And this is, when we think about it, the whole idea. Now, sometimes when relative to those alerts and the benefits that you share, we'll see a customer in one jurisdiction and perhaps a transaction being attempted somewhere else, maybe even outside that jurisdiction, outside that country, or in another state if they're in a province. How does that play out relative to your being informed and getting that notice to the customers?
Well, once there's an let's say unusual transaction that happens, and the client would not only get the notifications, but if it's something really out of the ordinary, especially like if it's a large sum of money, sometimes we would do a callback just to confirm that this is actually the person making the transaction and that they're aware that this is happening.
Excellent, man. And as you share, this is this a added benefit, but also free of cost to your customers.
Yep, exactly.
All right.
And that's only one of the exciting things happening. The other one is we have a campaign called Digital Mania that's going on right now, which basically is going through the month of January. Basically, over 70 clients who are using the digital channels, so the online banking and mobile, and even the ATMs here to do different things like make deposits, will have an opportunity to win cash prizes. So lots of exciting things.
No, and this is it. We're noticing that more and more, and I don't believe it's just going to be the millennials or the younger ones, but more people, more customers are going to be using these cashless sort of transactions where they not have to be in lines and the online portals. Now, what sort of means or services can you use for the digital portal? Is it just bill payments, or are there other things you can do relative to mortgage payments and the like?
Well, you can make credit card payments. You could also set up pay your bills, so your water bill, your electricity bill. You can make transfers in between your accounts. You could transfer to other accounts you might have at other banks, and even top up your mobile phone, all from online. So no need to have to always walk to the gas station or somewhere to top up your phone. Just get online and just top it up from there. So
just, we're probably accustomed to going to certain places to make the top up. You're saying you can just do it there within the scene sphere.
Yes, sir. So convenient, saving you time and effort having to go anywhere, and also by using the digital platforms and the ATM for, let's say, making deposits, you don't have to join the lines anymore, and it also enters you in to win the cash prizes that we talked about before. So, for example, the first the random 35 customers that use the ATMs to make transactions or deposits or the online banking could win between $50 to $400 each. And also with the mobile app for the top-ups, 40 clients who top up using the mobile app have a chance to win $30 each.
So they got paid to do what you're probably going to be doing anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Free money in the bank, huh?
That's what I'm saying.
Now, how does a customer go about getting more information on your promotions and the like?
For more information on the promotions, clients could log on to ky.scotiabank.com. It has the full list and details of all the promotions going on.
ky.scotiabank.com.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, I'll tell you, it's not just impressive to see how we've been leveraging the technologies, but then how companies equally are likewise embracing that customers want not just the convenience, but that timeliness of being able to do what they have to do. Time is money, huh?
Exactly. So why not save it and earn more?
Sounds like to any economist or any politician, that sounds like money to your ears, huh? Anything else you want to share with us, Mr. Willie?
Just thank you for having the time to have us on the show. We look forward to anyone and everyone who, even if they just want to come in to speak to a personal banking officer, we're looking forward to helping everyone become better off, not only financially, but as overall in their lives. So,
when that trust promotion goes well, man, let us know how we can continue to help. We make the community and the economy healthy and stronger, and then we make it that much more stable and safer as well, So, ky.scotiabank.com for more information, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, you enjoy the rest of your day, Mr. Willie.
You too, Sterling. Have a good one.
All right, all the best. And listen, we were there for some, the financial capital in many places. For others, this is where bread and butter is, and for the government, they'll see how important the financial services is relative to the GDP and the like. And as we grow our economy, as our businesses leverage the available technologies, and as our customers benefit, it's going to be much better all around. So, Scotiabank shares with us. Check them out, ky.scotiabank.com. Let's pause and take a short break. When we come back, more talk today.
At Flow, we know that 4 are better than 1. Introducing Flow Quad Play. Packed with the fastest, most reliable broadband, the power and control of Flow Evo TV, Cayman's best mobile experience, and tons of home phone minutes, all in one convenient package from only $199 a month. With 4 plans to choose from, you're sure to find one that fits your needs. It's value, ease, and convenience all on one bill with Cayman's #1 network. Find out why 4 are better than 1 with Flow Quad Play at discoverflow.ky. Terms and conditions apply.
Headlines.
With the latest headlines.
Headlines.
All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Headlines.
Turning to international news. Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. Radio Cayman News.
Headlines.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Water Authority Cayman is pleased to note that pipeline works will commence on the 5th of February to replace the water main along Melmac Avenue. The first week of the work will involve the installation of a temporary line which will provide continuation of service to customers while the replacement takes place. The whole project is expected to take about 4 to 6 weeks, weather permitting. To facilitate these important works, it may be necessary for the road to be closed from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. daily, allowing local access only. During this time, the Water Authority will do its utmost to lessen the impact on local residents and the motoring public. Traffic signs will be posted in the general vicinity, and all motorists are being asked to drive with caution to ensure their own safety as well as that of the Water Authority staff. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its valuable customers as it upgrades its water infrastructure to better serve you, and do apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. If you need additional information on Water Authority, please visit www.waterauthority.ky.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go.
Puritan, now using the most popular and eco-friendly cleaning solvents. Take advantage of our ongoing discounts on all men and women's apparel. Ask about other discounts available in store. 3 convenient locations to serve you: Savannah Countryside, Elgin Avenue, Georgetown, Eastern Avenue, Georgetown. Drive-through, rain or shine. Free pickup and delivery available. Call Puritan Cleaners at 949-7104. You feel good when you look good.
Having a party at the beach or a team building exercise at the park? Reserving your cabana is easy with the Public Works Department online booking system. Create your account and use the online calendar to pick your desired date and facility. You can even pick the cabana you want to use. Look for your confirmation email, print it off, and bring it with you as proof of reservation. Enjoying our natural environment has never been so easy. Visit www.eservices.gov.ky to book your cabana today.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us. 949-8037, 949-8037, or toll free with the compliments of Flo at 1-800-534-8255. Invite you to be a part of our continuing dialogue and discussion here. And sometimes I wonder, I'll share with you as a fellow relayed to me earlier. He says on one hand, you feel like you're, in this sphere of gossip and rumor mongering, I think was the word he used. Is that a word we can use, Ms. Susan? Rumor mongering? He said because you're sitting somewhere, maybe you're talking to co-workers or family and friends, maybe you're just out sitting down, and whether it's a coffee or tea or some other drink, maybe you're just sitting quietly somewhere in the shade, and people are talking. Sometimes they'll speak loud enough that you don't have to eavesdrop. Other times they'll see you there and turn and sort of assume that you want to be part of the conversation, but nonetheless information is being shared one way or the other, whether you're actively trying to solicit and engage or whether you're passively just taking it in whether you want to or not. And he says that he's had many times come to find out things that has his mind, they've surprised him. They've come long after the fact. They've been reported in the media. A planning permission has been given for something, a building perhaps has been demolished or constructed, something has happened. And there are times that you hear about something happening, maybe a visit by some notable person, whether it's royalty or whether it's a celebrity of sorts or whether it's some big business tycoon that's coming in for a day. You hear little rumors as he shares. And then you hear things, particular proposed development is going to happen, or government is considering something. And now this is, as an example, he said, just as an example, perhaps government is considering, we need to lay off certain things. We need to maybe privatize certain interests. Maybe we need to hire more people in a particular area. Maybe we need to give salary increases in certain areas. And then it goes quiet, whatever this rumor is, and then later on people say, where there's smoke there's fire. So something materializes, maybe a month, a year, maybe sometime down the road, and you realize that what was shared was not too far off as to what happened, or maybe what was shared initially, it was just a little seed. Put it out there, see if it gains an attraction, and people like it, then they move forward, or the seed doesn't happen. He thought, why is it that way? It seems to be the way of the world. Why can't this happen? And he gave us an example. 2 things. I can't put it entirely how he put it, for a number of reasons. I choose not to use the language, not because he was using expletives in that sense, but just the way he speaks and the like, and to do so would probably sound, I believe, disrespectful, and certainly wouldn't come across as nicely as, there are those of us who have a particular, intonation and dialect, and it's interesting to hear them speak. Those of us who may say, well, we have friends from Scotland, you can just listen to them all day. It doesn't matter what they're saying, they just sound so wonderful. We say the same about our friends from the Brack. Now, we want you to share with us so we can hear what you have to say, 949-8837 or 1-800-534-8255. But as I relate to you the story that he relayed to me, well, see what you think. So he says, take two things. We cuss, complain. Some of us are great champions even. So there are different camps of anything that our largest developer undertakes. So whether it's the proposal to develop the Bacchus area in a way, whether they're using other interests as partners to get the ball rolling, or whether it's just a way to spread wealth. Perhaps it may be that way, to share the love, to share the wealth. Maybe it's just a way to put a face forward and let the chips fall, and if it's good, then you take the windfall. If it's bad, you can say, well, it's really not us. Your perspective. You can decide how you interpret it. But he was looking at it and thinking, well, on one hand, progress and prosperity, should go hand in hand. Or should it? Can you have prosperity without progress? Will you have progress and not necessarily prosperity? Not just, he says, social and political prosperity, but the kind that people want to tangibly measure, economically. I'm doing this thing because it's going to earn me more money. I'm going to invest in this thing because it's going to earn me more money. Whether this thing is added education, whether this thing is a share or two or 1,000 or 1,000,000 in some company, public or privately, listed company. Perhaps the thing is maybe property. Is it going to make me more money? That's how people see, prosperity. And then he was questioning, well, if it's the whole issue, for some it may be perceived as greed. Enough is never enough. Too much is not enough. It's just more. Now, he thought, if you are the investment manager for a particular fund, and this year it had a 10% return, maybe the expectation is that next year it has 11% or 12% or 15%. Maybe there are specific targets that are given that should you reach those. Now, maybe if you made $1 million this year, well, maybe next year the goal is to make 10 million. More is always better in the minds of some. Now, he questions whether in that respect do we need, is it advisable, is it even something that is absolutely necessary to impose restrictions on ownership of types of businesses, ownership of properties, not just what percentage of a property an entity or a person can own, Caymanian or non-Caymanian, and equally, well, what about the types of properties? He says, and some of us may have been reading it, some of us may be well aware. I gather from what he shared that it came as a surprise to some of his friends and sort of closest associates when he said, well, did you know that there are big industrialized nations that have said to the big powerhouse of China that we're going to seriously limit what industries you can get into. We're going to say to you, you can't buy controlled interest in this company. They use the guise of national security. They don't want the transfer of defense technology or other technologies. They don't want that to be in the hands of, in their words, a foreign power. Now, some of you might say, well, that's old news. That should be exactly how it is. His question is, if a country, an independent democratic nation, part of the sort of the world powers, in a democracy can pass such legislation that restricts ownership of certain companies and businesses, perhaps investment in certain industries, should the Cayman Islands or other smaller jurisdictions do likewise. And if they were to consider, and if they were to adopt such measures, how would it be perceived? Would some say, well, you can't say to somebody that they can't own, this piece of land on 7 Mile Beach, for instance, or in the center of town, or on the bluff in the Brack, or wherever that is? And if so, well, why not? The other question some will share, well, in a free democracy, in a capitalist society, and the like, well, you can't put restrictions on, the factors of production, the things that people should ordinarily have access to. If a willing seller and a willing buyer, and there are no, sort of undue influences and coercion, all the other things, if it's just a legitimate exchange, and one person says, well, I know it's worth $1 million, but I'll give you $10 million for it, and the person feels that's an offer they can't refuse, who's to say that you shouldn't be allowed to make that transaction? Now, he goes back to his earlier point. If we consider all those things and we embrace it or dismiss it, the question is, where is the social ethos? If the economics and the politics of the day is such that we don't have an issue with those things as long as they're seemingly legal, and legal, he shares, and some of us would quite rightly accept, doesn't always mean ethical, but that's another discussion perhaps for another time. He says if it's all above board, then why not? But he says if the social ethos is, well, this company, and we've assigned words, like vulture and predatory pricing and all sorts of things that could malign, could seem to impugn some less than unsavory notion. But he shares, if we go that route and we see that a business is coming in and it says, well, here's a vacant property that we're not or underutilized property within our asset base or portfolio, we could leverage this. We could do more with this. Perhaps it may only be for the next 5 or 10 years, maybe even for a year until we get to that point. Is that good business sense, in that you're not leaving what is potentially another source of revenue just idle to rot and collect dust and the like? Or will you be perceived, well, if in a year that you're going to be developing this, why lease it out? Why monetize it so that for the next 12 months you've made X dollars, or for the next 36 months, or the next 60 months, or whatever that timeline is? If your grand plan is to do this thing, some of you would say, well, why not? You put your money in the bank, and the bank will give you interest at a higher rate for a 1 year fixed deposit as it would for a 1 month roll, and you can opt for the 12 months. You don't need the liquidity. You probably would take it. Why put it under your mattress? Is that any different? Well, what is your thought? Now, he left us with the notion that, hey, if it's a case that the politics is that we're going to swing in a corner whoever pays the piper, if the economics is, that's fair game, and let's make as much as we can for as long as we can, because we don't know what tomorrow will bring. What is it that we share? Strike the hammer when the iron is hot, make hay while the sun shines. All those little things that we've probably heard and probably repeated. But if it is that, but there has to be a moral consciousness, a sense of corporate citizenship that extends beyond the financial bottom line, the consideration for, as he thought, may have been the ethos a very long time ago. The business comes into a community, it provides employment, but it's also, very, very responsible in its dealings with its neighbors, its competitors, its suppliers, the area as a whole, how it maybe looks after its buildings and the potential impact on the surrounding environment, the potential pollutants that it may emit from its manufacturing process, for instance, or its discharge of effluent matter, or what have you. Perhaps even considering, to some extent, when workers get to a certain age, we've whether there's legislation, minimum in some cases, non-existent in others, well, we're going to do more than just, well, out the door, buy, here's a nice pen or a watch. Or is it like we've seen increasingly? You get to a certain age, you may be drawing more on the health insurance, and so it's probably time to move you along. Or companies may in the first place decide, well, we're not going to hire you as an employee, we're going to hire you as some sort of, and I think the term the lawyers tell us, an independent contractor. You come in here, you do a job, but you're liable for all that you do. You have to find and satisfy all of the, legal requirements for pension and health and the like. When you come in, if you don't perform well, I will sue you, and if you perform negligently, it's on you. You're going to absolve us from any liability, even though to the customer it seems like it's almost a seamless transaction. This person is obviously an employee of this company, but on paper the legality is, well, this person isn't. Sometimes even to the extent that the uniforms are almost one and the same or very similar. Well, these are some of the things that some of you share with us. Now, my friend what was shared with us this morning, and had us thinking relative to the sort of ruminations, as it were, of some of our people. Now, share with us. It's the last day of the month, but it's certainly just the beginning of the year almost. So let's hear from you. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Super Senior Team in association with Mango Tree and Appleton presents the annual Valentine's Concert, Friday, February 8th, featuring live on stage, Mikey Spice and Friends, New Anna, Andrew Rivera, James Gary, and Andy Blake. Tickets $20 pre-sold, $25 at the gate. Get your tickets at Funky Tangs, Mango Tree, Super C Restaurant. All brought to you by Flow, Hot 104.1, Appleton, Radio K-Man. Also, Valentine's Musical Showdown with Cobra, DJ Shit Vicious, Slaughter Rich, Fire Ass, and Rolex. Friday, February 8th at the Mango Tree, Mikey Spice and Friends.
We are Radio K-Man, and this is how we wake you up in the morning. Praise time on Radio K-Man.
Sing your praise to the Lord. Come on, everybody, stand up and sing one more. Hallelujah, give your praise to the Lord. We are united in Jesus Christ. We are the soldiers of the land.
Praise time.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
There's a meeting up in heaven. Roll call. It's a name in the Lamb's Book of Life. Roll call, brother, sister. Roll call. If you don't stop shouting, if you don't stop dancing, we gonna put you out of our church.
Praise time.
Jesus in the morning, yeah.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Your song flowed through my lips. Your work moved through my hands. Your thoughts stay on my mind. Live in me.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio K-Man.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. We invite you to be a part of a discussion. It's going to be some open line until there's more things to do. 949-8037, 949-8037, or 1-800-534-8255. Certainly invite you to share your thoughts with us. If you want to WhatsApp, 925-3261, or if you want to send us an email, well, by all means, talk today at candw.ky. And we've, at least I believe it's fair to say, hopefully it's something that you see. We feel honored and privileged to be in perspective where we can sit sometimes and see things sometimes because of how people share their view. See things from the perspective of another person's sort of position. What does it say? You can't truly understand what a person's going through until you walk in their shoes. Well, how many of us are willing to have not that level, only that level of compassion, but maybe you can relate because we've experienced it. Now, speaking to the fellow earlier, he was saying that how is it that there are all of these individuals who have complained for the longest time about stray dogs, people being attacked, sometimes almost to the point where they have suffered great injury, whether they're walking to and from school or work or just out exercising. Some people, he said, over the years complain that it's an issue where even their cars have been bitten up and the like. Now, many of us love our dogs. Some of us are responsible pet owners. Others only give that semblance when it's convenient. Now, he shared that it seems like with everything, it's only when things happen to certain people or in certain areas, and increasingly, that seems to be the perspective more and more in this very small place, that only when it affects certain people that all of a sudden it gets attention. He recalls, he said, repeatedly, sharing with different people, friends who are police officers, friends who are government officials, friends who are politicians, friends who are neighbors and friends who are family, and seemingly like everybody throws their hands in the air and say, well, what are we going to do about that now? That's those people there. Now, hopefully, he says, the issue is addressed in particular when it's affecting the country as a whole, irrespective of where it is. If it's an issue that people are dumping along the roadsides, should it matter if it's in some part of, one district, or if it's on one island and not on the other? If it's something that is happening in the country that shouldn't happen, it speaks to the country having to address it so that it doesn't become an accepted practice. He said, we saw the issue when people were, being, sort of attacked in their homes, or their homes were being broken into, or even, sadly, people were killing people. Oh, that was them over there. Only when these things go into certain communities and neighborhoods, that seems to take on a greater sense of urgency. Again, he shared, we look at some of the dogs and the more ferocious looking dogs, not only being on leash and unattended, but being allowed to roam freely. And we see almost an immediate response. Now, is it because some people know who to call? Perhaps is it he shares it because of who is calling? What is it that gets the attention of some and the immediate action of others, even though the same thing has happened, 2 doors down, 2 neighborhoods over? Well, what is your thing? What is your perspective? 949-8037, or toll free with the compliments of Flo at 1-800-534-8255. We have our news coming up shortly. I want you to stay tuned and listen to that, see what our hardworking news team is up to, informing us of not just what's happening within government or in the country and its private sector, but in the region and globally as well. And when we come back, share your thoughts with us. Let's take us down a path and see where, what you say sort of radiates and resonates with others, whether here and whether near. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. We're going to pause, take a break, get our headline news, get in some sponsor ads, and when we come back, more Talk Today.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
The Office of Education Standards has set up a new tool that will make it much easier for parents to gauge the strengths and weaknesses at their child's school. The snapshot reports are summary reports highlighting the main information from the actual reports. The OES director, Peter Carpenter, said the new graphically detailed reports are designed to give members of the community quick access to the key information in the school inspection reports. The snapshots will be published on their website on an ongoing basis going forward. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. At least 8 people have died in the U.S. Midwest as the region shivers in the grip of its worst cold snap in decades. An Iowa student found dead outside a college building is among victims of the deadly freeze. Hospitals have been treating patients reporting frostbite as life across a swath of the nation grinds to a halt. The iciest blast may still come today. 90 million people, a third of the U.S., have seen temperatures of 17 degrees Celsius or below. Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt says extra time may be needed to finalize legislation for Brexit. Mr. Hunt said a possible delay in the UK's departure from the EU behind the March 29th deadline depended on the progress made in the coming weeks. The PM is seeking alternative arrangements to the backstop, but the EU says it will not renegotiate. And Sultan Abdullah Ahmad Shah has been sworn in as the new king of Malaysia. He will serve a 5-year term before the crown passes to one of Malaysia's other traditional rulers. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Kirk Freeport is inviting local customers to view the highly exclusive Patek Philippe one-of-a-kind unique traveling collection of watches. The collection will be in Grand Cayman for just 1 week before it's whisked off to its next destination and features a collection of unique, rare timepieces from the last family-owned Genevan luxury watch manufacturer. Visit Kirk Freeport's Bayshore Mall location between Friday the 25th and Thursday the 31st of January to view the Patek Philippe traveling collection in Cayman for 1 week only. Visit KirkFreeport.com for more information.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after,
Brit K protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
95% of claims settled in 5 days.
Low-cost life insurance.
And investments.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after,
visit BritK.ky or call 949-8699.
Brit K, where people come first.
Did you know that the Department of Environmental Health operates a recycling program in the Cayman Islands? Recyclables such as number 1 and 2 plastics, tin and aluminum cans, cardboard, as well as glass and ceramic items are recycled on Grand Cayman by the DEH. Take these items to the recycling depots located at all Foster's supermarkets, Kirk Market, and Hurley's Grand Harbor. Remember, keep the Cayman Islands clean, reduce, reuse, and recycle. For more information about recycling, please visit DEH website at www.deh.gov.ky.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us, and I must share with you, it's really remarkable to see his diligence and persistence and his desire, to engage with the public to ensure that he fulfills sort of his mandate as leader of the opposition. And as you know, we've got the PAC coming up, right, Ms. Susan? In very short order, it's going to be broadcast on our sister station, Breeze FM. Mr. Ezra Miller, as the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, chairs the Public Accounts Committee, and he was trying to. I respected, the fact that politicians, in particular, whether government or otherwise, sometimes we beat them up a little bit, undeservingly. But that's how it is sometimes. We feel it's justified. But I must share. Hopefully, you don't accuse me of being unfair or a little bit too accommodating. But he was trying to get her to share a few things. But traffic on one hand, obligations of his office, and in particular the Public Accounts Committee. It's not a far distance, but have you ever tried, driving from, let's say, the Lions Centre, for argument's sake, to the town hall? Sometimes that's a, hour drive. Well, likewise, from the library to the LA building to the glass house, sometimes, it can be 15, 20 minutes just to get over there. And if you walk, not just that it's hot and you may get sweaty, but people will stop you, not because you're a politician, but probably specifically so, but people will stop you and say, hey, I haven't seen you in a long time, and they'll stop and ask, and there'll be a discussion, and what may be a 5 or 10 minute walk could be a day's journey. Sometimes it feels that way. Well, on behalf of Mr. Miller and his truly, almost valiant effort to try to come across there, his constant communication with us to see how we can come. He's not going to be able to join us today, and we appreciate he's not only informing us repeatedly, okay, it looks like it's going to work, I'll be there, but that endeavor to make it and keep us posted. Well, we invite you to not only listen to what we have here and talk today and contribute and share and participate and but see if you can multitask, and when our PSC proceedings sort of resume, as it were. We'll have it live on Breeze FM, we'll tell you. So you can do, both and be informed. But in the meantime, though, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. I must share, I got a call during the break, and as I was relaying in a very, very long-winded way, trying to think about, the caller who said, boy, you're good, You really can not only make a short story long, you say, but you sometimes try to put it so diplomatically that if you don't pay attention, you'll miss it. When I was sharing earlier about the developer and the whole idea of plans, he alluded to the notion of the lease. Well, it wasn't specifically geared to be, said in such a guise, but to speak generally about everything. And even though we were specific in referencing the large developer, not to draw attention exclusively. Something else he shared that we'll get to, and it has to do with the Mall Road. But let's go to our phones, though. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
My good friend.
Hey, how are you, sir? How are you?
Oh, look like you thirsty today. I don't hear no calls going in, man.
No, man. Hey, listen, man. That's how the cookie crumbles today. So, thank you for sharing with us, man.
Yeah, there's lots to say.
Mm-hmm.
They say sometimes there's more questions than answers.
Yep, that's so true.
I'm not too sure. Maybe it's all questions and no answers.
Or the answers are not only untimely, but they're also inaccurate, misleading, and deliberately, skewed to misinform.
Yeah. When you look around, it's so disheartening to see the morale of this country is at an all-time low. Are you listening? You pay attention to what I'm saying, please?
Yeah, listen to you.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Just look around and see what's happening to this God-blessed little island.
Mm-hmm.
You got people that in this island, okay? All indications are there's nothing but a whole element of criminal, shall I say, advantage is what they're doing, taking advantage of a situation. And apparently nothing or little less then nothing is being done about it. We have so much law enforcement off of one limb, and there you are with so much crime into this island. We are a laughing stock. Let's examine, for example, your national security. There's so much bureaucracy into this island, okay? When you're talking about your national security, you know what you're talking about? I have to explain that going into detail tomorrow if we have an uprising into this country. Which one nationality is going to be the bigger and the more powerful in how the more say? Why, in Christ's name, that we have to get so much law enforcement from one particular country when you're talking about your national security? If we should have a confrontation as Caymanians with any of these people, we are the losers because we outnumbered by that nationality big time. And I see there's some dark clouds hanging over us. I can see culture clashes coming. With these people that coming in here, they don't take no for an answer. You're driving up ahead, they got to get here. They always want to be first. They always got this loud voice that's coming in like they're really dominating thing, and they're doing. So when you have any kind of a riot into this place, do you have anybody who's going to look out for the interests of this island? I would venture to say absolutely no. Their country, their island is going to come first at any given time. So whatever happened, happened. So I am saying this, whether it's the commissioner of police or the authorities to be, why the hell are we getting so much of a one branch? Why are we not looking at other places, especially the mother country that's been for us ever since, I assume, almost since creation, and in my opinion, they're doing a bad job. But here we are bringing these people in, and what they're doing, getting paid salaries, and you can't say anything. If they don't like you, they'll do anything to give you a ticket or do something else. But, you know, this is why I don't even get on the show anymore, because, my friend, you're talking to the breeze. Where is our government? Where is these people that's supposed to be regulating all of these things, like your national security? And if you can't get police from the Cayman Islands, you look to other jurisdictions. But these people come in and they laugh at you. They come in here on a temporary visit. When you know the thing, they got a temporary work permit, and from there they go on into a year. That's another thing that needs to be examined. You come in here for a visit, you come here for a visit. You go back to where you come from. Anybody wants to sponsor you, that should be paperwork pending. But not to stay here, you got 3 months and then you go into a year. What in Christ's name is going on into this little island? And these are the people tell you that they have our interests at heart. My friend, in my opinion, nothing could be farther from the truth. That is why I'm saying morale in this country is at an all-time low. 5 years from now, we see all these people pouring in here. What are you going to have? A concrete structured island, very little vegetation, so who wants to come here then? So when you're talking about the interest of the country at heart, ask him to come and challenge me and debate with me, because I am so tired and sick to see these guys going around that is elected representatives. And what's happening? Nothing. They don't got no time to even listen to me. But I am here with broad shoulders to stand up and tell any of them that what you're doing is not good enough. It's not good enough at all. So you take it from there to the next chapter.
Thank you very, very much, sir. Thank you very much for sharing. With that, we join the other line. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, my friend, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
Oh, still a Christian.
You know, that's why I love words, you know.
Just thinking, Senator, in all these controversial subjects I talk about, no one will call in, correct me, or criticize me for them. Maybe they were true.
Maybe they were. Sometimes, people just let things.
I know sometimes let it go, but somebody okay. And I like the guy, like Jesus, Jesus never preached against the little man, the publicans and sinners.
Mm-hmm.
The most of his preaching was against the public scribes and Pharisees and lawyers, those rulers, And the biggest warning he gave the disciples, be careful of the doctrine of the Pharisees. In other words, the church leaders and the government. Be careful of their document. Right? Because they're only saying things, but they really not showing mercy and not sacrifice.
Yeah. It's interesting though, but I mean, you'll recognize that for some people, having discussion about politics for them is unnerving, but even worse and more so if you're talking about religion.
Yeah. We suppose let's take America, delude that they have a democracy. America thinks they have a democracy. But they keep changing words anyhow. The word gay used to mean something else than what it means now.
But that's not them changing it though, is it?
Yeah, I'd be damn. I know who it was.
But they're not the only ones that speak English.
No, but they're changing the meaning. People then adopted it because America said so.
No, I mean, I hear what you're sharing, but I don't think it's them. I would agree with you that we have, over time, allowed certain words to change. And it's not just the colloquialisms, but it is what it is. I want to pick you up on that in a second, but I also want to maybe come back to you later. So leave us there. Let's go to the other line for a second. Hey, good afternoon. Welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
I was told that it was...
I just called to humbly apologize because I'm stuck in traffic on Shedden Road because my other meeting and gathering information for my public meeting tonight about the Water Key Road and collecting maps and everything else, so I will be duly prepared
yes, sir.
to do my job. Took a little longer than I anticipated, and right now I'm bumper to bumper on Shedden Road, and by the time I get to you, I'll have to leave because a public hearing starts at 2. And being the chairman of that, I have to set an example to be on time.
Right. Well,
so I'll have to see you next week, Thursday.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm glad that you called, and I hope, that if I get in trouble by any powers that be, whether political appointed, whether on the government side or private sector, even, good family who decide to take a different view, I was sharing just prior that I always admire not the fact that when you're here, you're always on time, the fact that you were not scheduled to come, but you were prepared to hold the scene to make sure that we have, a discussion, today being Thursday, and today's the day that the opposition gets a chance to share its view. And you were communicating with us, just like you shared. And I thought that is, very respectful, but it's also a great example that irrespective of your position, you reach out and communicate. And I hope people don't take me to task for saying, boy, you really singing Mr. Miller's praises.
But, if you want respect from people for your time, you have to respect other people's time. And you have to respect commitments. And I have always tried. If I tell you I'm going to be there, I'm going to be early or on time, or you'll get a call saying, listen, I'm running a little bit late, I apologize. Equally so, I don't allow other people to waste my time. If you have an appointment with me and 15 minutes past the time you're not there, the appointment is automatically canceled. Move on to the next guy.
Yeah, man. It is something that I recognize that we live in a changing world, but I respect you for that. And there are so many others who have a similar ethos. But when you think back to the comments that are being made, some say, Caribbean time, some people do it not only to be malicious, but I think they do it unknowingly. At least I hope that's the case.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we have allowed people to come here and complain that Caymanians like to be late for appointments. That's not the way I grew up.
Nope.
I'm a sea captain's son, and I had lots of mariners in my family, and seconds, meantime, them, when they go out on deck 6 o'clock in the evening and draw the sun down on that sextant, they have to count down the seconds, 1,000, 1,000, 2,000 until they get back to the chart table, position, because time is important, and that's the way I was raised, and time is valuable, and what has passed cannot be recovered.
Yeah, man. But I gotta,
But I apologize to you and the listening public that haven't committed. I got held up and can't make it.
That's fine. That's understandable. And thank you for reaching out. And I know that you have other things on. We certainly would love to delve into it further.
Let me take a little opportunity to invite all the people of Northside out to the meeting tonight at the Civic Center at 8 o'clock to discuss the road works that are necessary in the Caymanka area for the safety of the traveling, bicycle riding, and walking public. So, want everybody to come out so they can have their opportunity to have their say about what is being suggested.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you keeping us informed. Hopefully, the wider, as you said, the wider community in that area, because from what you shared, from what was being relayed as what transpired at the CPA hearing, this isn't just an issue for Northside. There's potentially a precedent across the country.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
and you noticed the headlines yesterday where some developers are beginning to challenge covenants for right to use beach facilities. Right.
And we're seeing the whole issue with canals. Many of us thought that you could drive your boat into a canal, maybe to fish. Not that long ago, when was it the, I call it Salt Creek area? Maybe eventually got, boats were an impending hurricane, and boats were precluded from going in there to seek safe harbor.
Yeah, and these are the kind of traditions that the government has a responsibility to protect. Canals need to be treated in this country like roads and gazetted as public waterways. And because what happens to the guy down the road from you, behind you, from the open water, and you and him are falling out? Can you tell him then he can't cross your land because you own up half of the canal? It's ridiculous. And these are the kind of things that the government consistently refuses to address, which are important things for the social, economic well-being of this country.
The stability, not just the economic, but as you said, the social. If you were here and we would ask a question, not necessarily expecting an answer now, but if you don't mind, it was brought to us a number of times, and again today, because I believe it's in the media. Two things specifically. One to do with the issue of I don't know how to term it, ferocious dogs, wild dogs, irresponsible pet owners, or what have you. There's an animals law. We've seen campaigns by the police, by the Department of Agriculture to do things, but some people are sharing that this is an issue across the country, but now it seems to have come to the head because it seems to be. And I give it to you like how I got it. The guy was very livid. I asked him if he would come on to talk, and he said no. But he did give me permission to say, well, you can describe me how you want. He doesn't like to be highlighted, but I believe that his wealth, for those who know him, he doesn't flaunt it, but it certainly isn't something that if he walked into the bank today and told them, have a check for me in the 7 figures, it wouldn't be too long before they could produce it.
We have been trying to address this issue from the time I was in government in the 80s when we started the dog catch-up program through the Agricultural Society. Right? And it has to come to a point in time where pet owners have to take some responsibility, and there needs to be consequences when they let their pets out the room and, and interfere with people.
Yeah. It is something that it has, and I don't, maybe, if I was writing a book and was being asked, well, perhaps it would be full disclosure. I have related to the authorities quietly because people would bring it to me. I have brought it to them, and relaying it to them because it occurred, to me, just along public roads, right? And I had a friend who, I saw the dog bites on the car. I can't tell you that it did happen where he said it did, or I can't tell you it didn't, but I don't have the reason to disbelieve him. He parked his car somewhere, and to come back, and this is the plastic, not the metal, but it was all chewed up. And he said the dog went to town and bit the car up. he thought, wow, what if that was a person?
These are these are the kind of infractions that most of them are covered under the penal code. It's a matter of enforcement.
Okay.
I mean, I have the untenable situation in my community now where one particular, what I've been referred to in the public media as the drug supermarket. The person was arrested last year, charged, let on bail, rearrested last year, charged, re-bailed, rearrested again, charged, and bailed. I mean, I'm going out to the LA now, and if I can get 10 or 15 minutes before the public account start, I have to take out the bail law because I can't see how that's possible.
Well,
it's nice talking to Mr. Sterling.
Yes, sir. And thank you for sharing, and I hope that, not only will it be a productive session this evening, but the Public Accounts Committee continues to shine light, on our country. Have a wonderful afternoon, sir. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I trust, and I think I'm justified in, if you feel it's an attempt to defend, but when people in high office and certain positions, and they behave with a level of humility and decorum and deportment and respectability, it is a great example because we can look at it. We should equally, chastise them, call them to task when people in those positions. If you see someone, for instance, who's a student in uniform, you quickly recognize that student as being a student of this, whatever that is, a school or organization, because the uniform identifies. Likewise, if it's a profession or some occupation or calling, you see the uniform. And that behavior, that bad behavior, was unfortunately going to sullen the others, your perspective of them, and cast them in a negative light. And there are those who quickly will say, well, the scripture talks about humility before honor. I can share with you that Mr. Miller reached out to us and says, I'll come in for my colleague who unavoidably can't come in today as per the schedule. Hey, listen, things happen in our lives. We have family, we have things that seemingly, pop up, and for that particular moment looks like an emergency, not a life and death emergency, but it's urgent and it needs to be attended to. And we have to be understanding and accommodating and the like. And when Mr. Miller says, okay, we'll come in, we'll have hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever the time we allocate. But this happens and that happens, and he's advising us, okay, should soon be there. That isn't politicking, I don't think. That's just being respectful to your upbringing and to your cultural ethos. And I thought, that's quite, if you might say, I don't use it lightly, honourable. Some of you have said to me, but sometimes you're a bit cheeky because you said, if you want to be honourable, you should act so. Well, I think so. You want to be considered a good person, shouldn't you act like a good person? Just because you say you're good doesn't make it so. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. When we come back, a question that was asked of us, and only because we have an opportunity sometimes to ask the people who are our guests. Well, as you're listening, let me ask of you. Mr. Miller spoke about the meeting this evening, the idea that access to public waterways and the like, the notion that people are having challenges even getting access to beach facilities, and we know the challenges of getting access to the beach. We see the issues in the media again about wild dogs and ferocious dogs attacking people in neighborhoods, and why it seems to be an issue when it happens here, if it's always been ongoing and people have been complaining about it, but little or nothing is being done. Well, the other thing we want to ask you, you can weigh in on those things if you want. You might simply say, but they're non-issues. They're not even important. What is important is A, B, C, D, and E. Well, go right ahead and tell us that. But they may be important, and you can talk about that. The other thing, though, this notion of gated communities, not only a new development, and the people say, hey, part of the attractive, selling features that it's going to be gated and security and whatever the thing is. But what about established communities? And all of a sudden, maybe new owners, maybe some reason or other, the people say, well, we're going to gate this off. Do you remember when, was it Vista Del Mar, Susan, first was proposed to gate, and there was some little hullabaloo in the community? good nice word to use some days, huh? And how will, the emergency service get in there? Not just the police, because maybe you want to keep them out, but the fire and the ambulance, something happens, how do they get in there? Well, that came to pass and nothing much was said. But what about now? It's a commonplace, and, maybe Miss Susan in our community, we put a gate up as well, 50-foot gate, with a 5,000 per mile. I don't know. But what do you think about that? Is that something that we're looking for? Is that something that should be acceptable? I mean, par for the course. Let us know what you think. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
The 15th annual Cayman Economic Outlook returns on February 28th for another year of educating, informing, and stimulating the local community, bringing together industry thought leaders and business professionals to explore their theme, Dynamic New World, Braving the Turmoil. Speakers include economist Norina Hertz, University of Oxford professor Ian Golden, digital revolution journalist Andreas Ekstrom, biotechnology futurist Jamie Metzel, and professional surfer Mark Matthews. Tickets are selling fast. Reserve your seat at rfceo.ky.
The 2019 Extra Cayman Arts Festival returns with events to soothe your musical palate. February 5th through the 9th. On Tuesday, February 5th, 6 p.m. at West End Hotel Ballroom, taking sips and sounds with the Island Brass Quintet. Thursday, February 7th, 6 p.m. at Camana Bay Cinema. See Nick Cartledge, Flute Recital, and the New York Cabaret Night at Marriott Hotel Ballroom. Saturday, February 9th, 6:30 p.m. For more information on the 2019 Extra Cayman Arts Festival and to purchase tickets, visit CaymanArtsFestival.com or you can email inquiries at CaymanArtsFestival.com or call 922-5550. The 2019 Cayman Arts Festival proudly sponsored by Butterfield, Walkers, Island Heritage, CIBC, Cayman National, Richard and Royson Addlestone, High Impact Media, Fosters, and Radio Cayman.
If you are seeking a bachelor's, master's, or doctorate degree, the Ministry of Education is now accepting applications for the 2019 Overseas Scholarships. Give yourself the education you deserve and apply today. All scholarship applications must be submitted by January 31st, 2019. For more information on scholarships and the application process, kindly visit education.gov.ky. Tune in Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. Radio Cayman's Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio, featuring Will Sinatra. Enjoy a mix of pop, hip-hop, dancehall, and soca.
The Super Jam Show is fueled by the proud sponsorship of Fitness Plus and Train with Dre.
Get top-rated personal training or build your very own home or office gym today.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. It's open line 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. And if you call and share your thoughts with us, if you say, boy, look at nobody calling him, that's probably because they didn't pay the phone bill, the line's not working. We know sometimes there are issues with the phones. We don't know why. Not that the technicians don't try on our end, on the other end. I can honestly tell you, you can decide whatever, it is that happens, but it's strange. Sometimes, it's ringing in your ear, but it's not lighting up here. And other times, you go to the phones and there's nothing. So, who knows? But, end of the day, it's all about putting it into play. And we have our WhatsApp, so 925-3261. Couple of WhatsApps came through. If you happen to be watching us on YouTube, yes, I'm looking at one of the phones. And that's why I think radio is radio, and whatever that video screen is that video screen. So, please remember, if you're ever watching a radio show, that's what you're doing. It's not TV. You're watching a radio show. Television is a production. Everything is geared towards showing you, what is being said, not necessarily for you to hear. You're sort of seeing, and it's a difference. People talk about controlling the narrative and the like. So, but anyway, if we can get our message and expand their audience, and more importantly, give you greater access, then that's it. All I share with you is that if you're watching any of our programming, remember we are radio people, and I don't think Mr. Art would mind. We're looking at this from a radio perspective. We try to comb my hair and be as presentable as we can, whether it's 7 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the evening. Not to look too dreary, but bright-eyed and bushy-tailed nonetheless. But it's radio, and radio on a camera of sorts. So big, big difference. Some of you know, and I don't mean to speak as if you think I'm, speaking less than being respectful. But a couple of WhatsApp messages so you can share your thoughts with us. Our WhatsApp is 925-3261. One is on a little bit perhaps more jovial. I'll get to that secondly. The first one, a fellow says, here is, and is it okay if I reference the source it came from, Miss Susan? The guy messaged me through. He says cut and paste from an online news source, a comment by somebody. It's in relation to the ferocious dogs. Okay, so it's an online news thing, and I don't mind. I think Miss Wendy them, do a great job over there. He asked if we could read it verbatim. Don't mind. I read it just now. I didn't see anything wrong with it. If I get sued because there's something wrong, well, I don't know. Do I have Dino to cover this? We'll see. It says, what I cannot understand. So this is somebody who has cut and paste what was posted in response to a comment to one of the articles, I think. I haven't read the article yet, so I don't know. But I presume it's in relation to the dogs, okay? It says, what I cannot understand, why the big news now? Because a politician pet got attacked by a pack of dogs. This only shows how our politicians are so far unchecked of what is going on in their island. Every day, people and children are attacked by wild dogs and even neighbors' dogs. I must read it as it sent to us. Police and DOA, that would be Department of Agriculture, okay, DOA, are called and nothing happens. I am aware of an incident where a dog was attacking people in our neighborhood and the DOA came and collected the dog. Yet after a day, the owner went and collected the dog and he was back doing the same thing. Why now is this such a serious issue? Because of the politician, or is it because it's happening in the rich neighborhoods and the proximity of Commander Bay? Food for thought. People on work permits should not own any pets if they are going to abandon them at the term limit. Not fair to any animal. I read it verbatim as it was asked. As I said, the fellow said, who sent it across, said this is a comment. He just cut and pasted from one of the online news sites where somebody must have responded to other comments or an article. And I think it's important that we'll get our news and we share it, and we like our sources, whether it's radio, TV, or otherwise. But now, we'll come back to that, and we can talk about some other things, and we'll look at some other comments. The phone lines are open, 949-837, 1-800-534-8255. Got a chance to join Mr. Clive again for a quick second. Mr. Clive, welcome back, sir, and thank you for letting us interject and join Mr. Miller for a minute, huh?
Oh, I didn't know that you knew him on, because I said that that's the first call I had about 13 minutes. I got 3, then Mr. Miller got 11.
Well, you were timing it up, man. So if we add 11 plus 3 plus 25 and divide it by 41, we get whatever. Let's talk, sir. Let me not be disrespectful to you, and you share with us your view, sir.
I get used to it.
Don't get used to it, man.
Because it amused me what you said afterwards. Mr. Miller, when somebody or something is going on wrong in a society, you talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Except when it's ministers of religion or members of government.
But there's a fine line between speculating and asking questions, and not to suggest that this is what you're doing. But I'm saying there's a fine line that when we do that we're not defamatory. Now, there's nothing wrong with getting people to think and to challenge things. If somebody says something about somebody and it's true, and even if they find it offensive and they get up in arms, well, it's true. if you look at, Sir Winston Churchill, you say, boy, he was a heavy drinker. He was this, that, and the next thing. If you would have called former, President Clinton a man who seemed to enjoy playing the saxophone, are you being malicious?
No, I don't think you ever heard me calling people's names or really accuse them much of a thing.
No, sir. I think maybe I wasn't specific enough. But no. You're here now. Let me hear what you got to say. And if it sounds like something that we can understand and engage, let's get on with it, man. Thank you, sir.
We are supposed to be a Christian country, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have all these ministers are really coming down preaching that say they're following the Bible. We just say it's God. I mean, that's my daddy, my God, my brother Jesus. And they go around insulting him. And when people insult your family, you kind of get annoyed. When they're telling lies about your family, you get angry about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is my brother. Jesus is my brother. God is my... And it's all right there. And when I say things that derive in the Bible, if they don't like to hear it, take it up with those that wrote the Bible, take it up with God. I'm just repeating what the Bible says, almost word for word.
Let me ask you, when it comes to religion, right, specifically, and in the Cayman context, because this is where we live, some of us go to church, some of us go to church more often than others, some of us don't go as often as we should. In our community, the ministers of religion, if that was the phrase I thought I heard you say, couple of questions. Do you think, generally speaking, put them all in one basket, no matter which church they, sort of minister at, what do you think of them? You think they're all, upright, law-abiding, honorable people who seem to, know which end of the stick is up? Or just generally speaking, what do you think?
Many.
Sorry?
There are many churches, many people in the churches
mm-hmm.
that I found to be very good Christian men. When I say Christian, following the Bible and God's Word, as you see it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's some that are twisting the words in the Bible
mm-hmm.
to suit their end, to get a bigger congregation. Right? I heard one say the other day, Jesus was carrying the cross and he got tired.
Right.
And then they called somebody. I mean, what part of the Bible you find that?
Now let me ask, come back to that in a second if you wish. Many, most, all, do you think that there are any within that context that probably misbehave, probably don't measure up, really much to look at, but they're still at the helm? They're still the pastor, they're still preaching, they're still the elder, they're still the whatever, some sort of leadership within the churches. Let's talk in the churches generally in this country.
So the first thing you ought to say, what you consider wrong or sin.
Well, what? Okay.
Selfishness is the only sin.
Selfishness is the only sin?
Yeah, the rest is mortification of the ego. Right?
Okay, so the 12 commandments, because I think I probably added 2 more, but what do you think about them? I mean, if we don't follow them, you think that's a sin?
Right? They're not following 10 commandments. When last have you ever heard a minister preaching on anything like, oh, God is one and we must commit those sodomites to come in, or by keeping hold of the Lord's Day? Am I not disrespecting the Lord's name? And I must have to mess with them at that.
Okay. Maybe I lost you, or maybe somehow you've managed to lose me. I was asking, though, if what I was trying to get to, if in our church, and hopefully it'll be the same in any of our professions, any of our organizations, if somebody in an organization, since we're talking about the churches, if a minister of religion, a preacher, a pastor, a priest, whatever that person is called in leadership, if that person is acting in a way that maybe, immoral or unethical or, some which way or the other. Let's give an example. So the person who's in leadership, married or not married, is, openly engaging in a relationship with somebody else in the church, married or not married. If such behaviors were going on, what do you think we as a community as a congregation of that church, as a minister's body, are we doing anything to address that, acknowledge it, deal with it, get the proper, process on the way?
Look, Mr. Armstrong, there's been many cases in Cayman. Or the ministers run away with church money, or getting parked 2 o'clock in the morning, second and be meditating with the next man, wife, and the Lord. And that don't concern me.
Why not?
What I'm concerned about, really, is them misleading people. They are leaders, they're teachers of God's word, and they're teaching things that are not so. Sometimes I had to get in the middle of the sermon and man, like asked who him, I had to object to what he was saying. It was lies. And even after the church tried to talk to him, we couldn't get to talk to him. Or run off or something.
I'm not sure. I certainly, hopefully, don't be accused of asking you to leave us there, and maybe someone has to pick us up. The simple question is, where are we in relation to our society, and ensuring that there's a strong ethos of ethics and integrity, not just professionalism and competence. We want our doctors and the like to be professional and competent, but do we also want the people who are engaged in some sort of social structures or the like to likewise possess similar ethos? Hey, thank you, sir, for sharing with us. Let us pause and take a break. When we come back, maybe another caller will have another treat that they want to shake. I don't know, it's not mango season, but maybe there's some coconuts. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
All are invited to attend the 82nd Annual Convention of the Church of God, Full Gospel Hall, Georgetown, from February 3rd through to the 10th. Daily prayer meetings at 6:30 a.m., preaching and praise at 10:30 a.m., and evangelistic services nightly at 7:15. Sundays begin with Sunday school at 9:45 a.m., followed by morning worship at 10:45, a youth service at 3 p.m., and evangelistic services at 7:15. Come and enjoy a warm Christian fellowship, praying, praising, and singing with church family at the 82nd Annual Convention of the Church of God, Full Gospel Hall, Georgetown, on the waterfront, from the 3rd to the 10th of February. Free meals served daily and transportation is available by calling 926-8180.
Whether you're planning your child's next birthday party or simply looking for a social night out, look no further than Kingpin Bowling at King Sports Center.
With a range of packages and specials for bowling parties, socials, and corporate team building, Kingpin Bowling offers what no one else can. The only bowling alley in Cayman. And it's indoor fun, which means no mosquitoes, AC, and don't forget about their bowling bar. Book your bowling lanes today. Call 946-BOWL. That's 946-2495. Email kingpinbowling@candw.ky. For more information, visit their website, www.kingsportscenter.com.
King Sports Center, providing your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs.
Hi, I'm Dawn McLean Brady, President of the Cayman Islands Small Business Association, better known as CISPA. Small businesses drive Cayman's economy. As small business owners, we depend on government to create an environment where we, as entrepreneurs, can do what we do best, and that's to provide products and services that are valuable to our customers and, in turn, employ others. The cruise piers and cargo ports provide these opportunities. Encourage our government to build a port and let the Caymanian entrepreneurial spirit shine. Support the port, support our tourism.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. If you so choose, you can send us your thoughts on our WhatsApp, 925-3261. Likewise, if you want to email a thought through to us, well, go right ahead. talktoday@candw.ky. It's open line. We'll have you share your thoughts with us. And to the last caller, with the greatest respect, I trust and pray he doesn't feel slighted or dismissed in any which way, shape, form, or fashion. But maybe the whole issue with respect to religious discussion isn't something that we easily engage in, perhaps partly because we don't always know how to do it. A couple of comments were shared with us on that whole issue. Here's one. It says, heaven has a wall, a gate, and a strict immigration policy. Hell has open borders. Interesting, no? Now, I don't say that lightly, and I certainly don't want to not only offend your religious sensibilities and sensitivities, but the question, and if I understood the caller properly, are we prepared? Do we have the means and the mechanisms to hold people in leadership accountable and responsible for their acts? And specifically, if they are in a position of significant influence, and we would think that just like a police officer who was in uniform, pulls up in the marked police car with the siren on, and you probably know that you weren't wearing a seatbelt, talking on the cell phone and going a little bit fast, and the police officer says, okay, I'm going to give you a ticket. Some way you were able to either influence the officer, or the officer was to say, okay, I can make this go away, and some exchange occurred. You would think, wow, that's improper. Certainly wouldn't want that to happen, and there'll be a big uproar, and you'd probably call for the officer to be dismissed and all sorts of things. But why is it then, if that occurrence is in the church and somebody in leadership does something, are we quick to cover it up? Heinous acts committed against children, or perhaps philandering amongst the flock and the like? The question is, where do we expect the value system to dictate, and where do we try to uphold it? And why are we so willing to beat up on people, like the police, for instance? Castigate them all sometimes, and yet it's a job that few of us can do or are willing to do. And instead of being helpful, we probably hinder more often. Instead of saying, thanks, you just come off a 12-hour shift, maybe you just did a double shift, you've neglected your family, you've probably accepting a much lower wage than you probably could otherwise, because you've got this yearning to answer this calling. We berate them. Well, thanks for those of us who seem to be more appreciative, and thanks to those of us who value service above other selfish pursuits. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Likewise, if you want to share a thought with us and you choose to do so via our WhatsApp, well, 925-3261, and you can email talktoday@candw.ky. A lot of interesting comments came through. I was trying to look at a few of these as we were chatting, and I tried to place a call back to someone who sent through a text to us, and this is in relation to the notion of gated communities. The person's text, I don't know, that's still happening. It says, receiving text. So some of it came through, all of it hasn't. What came through seems to say that people like the prestige and the perception of the increased safety of living in gated communities. There's a fine balance between presenting that perception and restricting access to the public. The part that I wanted to read, it hasn't come through yet, so hopefully the guy can rescind it or otherwise. It's the issue of water rights and accesses, in canals. From what I can gather, the fellow has identified that seemingly canal access in some areas go through canal access from other areas. And if I'm not inferring it too much, but I believe this is what is being shared, on land you have a development in the front part of the properties, and that grants access to lands in the back, and so you go through, and that road gives access to lands adjoining that in the back, and perhaps in some cases miles in from the main road you have people accessing properties through developments. Is this the part I'm not sure of? Is he asking or commenting or going to share that, well, will that continued access give some sort of right that now that becomes public? Or is it that if they get one section, and would that mean that you're restricted to the other areas? Now, we do recognize that there are, in some instances, people who have in their, I call them subdivisions, maybe that's not as seemingly exclusive or upscale as call them developments, but we gather from what people who seemingly to be in the know, the conveyance lawyers and the like, who share, after a while the government, either through being asked by the landowners and residents of the area, or even by the developer, I've sold out all the property, you take over maintaining the road, and the road becomes a public road. And when roads are being resurfaced, perhaps that gets treated as part of the public roads where most of us travel to and fro. Now, if this comment is, and perhaps some of you may know more and can weigh in, if you have a development that is now public in that sense, and to get access to that area, you're traveling through access that has been granted in the first instance from lands adjoining, let's say, to the front of that. If that is gated, will you be denied access to your section, your subdivision? Maybe a bit confusing, but maybe not. 949-8037. Or you can toll free 1-800-534-8255, and you can WhatsApp 925-3261. And certainly always like to listen to you. Certainly enjoy learning, because a day that you don't learn something may be just a day that has been wasted. Whatever that thing is that you learn. Always good to increase your knowledge and the like. And when we come back from our break, maybe we can talk about roads in particular, not just the way we use and misuse the roads, but the government's construction of roads, its installation of roundabouts and the like. And in particular, be interested to hear from you what your thoughts are. We see it often because we go to the farmers market on Saturday mornings, and even sometimes we see it in the evenings, some of the vendors there. We go to play cricket and maybe knock a few 6-ups with the guys over there at the Cricket Association. Or maybe we have to go to and fro the sports stadium or to our schools. But there's a road being constructed from the CNB roundabout going across the education department and into the sections there. One individual has said, good way to open up access. A couple have questioned, but why is there a roundabout, along that path? What is the point? Well, there might be a very, very, not just simple, but very, worthwhile reason. I can say with great respect, I didn't ask. I leave it to those who engineer roads and the like and build them, that they know why they do that there's a beneficial reason for doing so. But you may have a different perspective. You may actually have something that gives us some insight. Be interested to hear from you if you so choose. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. We'll pause and we'll take our headline news at 2. When we come back, it'll be continued open line. And either together we'll get in trouble, or with your assistance you'll keep me out of trouble. But let's hear what you have to share. So please, stay tuned for Talk Today.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
The National Gallery launches the first Cayman Islands Biennial, which will showcase the latest developments in the contemporary art scene every 2 years. Director Natalie Urquhart tells Radio Cayman, following an opening call for participation in the inaugural exhibition, NGCI received submissions from 71 local artists. The title for the inaugural biennial is Cross Currents. The exhibition will open to the public on Saturday, February 9th. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. Police in India are questioning the head of an organization known as Love Commandos for alleged extortion and abuse of couples living in his shelter. Sanjoy Sakdev was arrested and 4 couples were rescued on a complaint by the Delhi Commission for Women. Mr. Sakdev set up the group to provide safe houses to couples who had angered their families by marrying outside of their caste or religion. Some of the couples alleged they were being held against their wills. And the UK, Germany and France have created a new payment system to allow European businesses to trade with Iran without falling foul of U.S. sanctions. All 3 opposed last year's decision by U.S. President Donald Trump to abandon a 2015 deal under which international sanctions on Iran were lifted. Some of the U.S. sanctions make it difficult for European banks to make direct payments to Iran. The U.S. said sanctionable activity with Iran risks severe consequences. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Super Jam Showdown.
For those of you that think that gospel music has gone too far.
Positive Monday. Population Tuesday. Latino Heat Wednesday to Thursday. Back the hands of time.
Supersonic.
Slide. Day Friday Brack Party Block Top 10 Count to Female Friday.
Radio Cayman Super Jam Showdown. Weekdays 3 to 6.
Brought to you by
City Wok, Cayman's newest Asian-style cuisine. The way it was meant to be.
Dine in, take out, or make your order online at citywok.ky.
Call 947-9965.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. It's open line. Share your thoughts with us. Give us a perspective. And as we reminded you earlier, the Public Accounts Committee will be in session. We're going to be taking to that live on our sister station, Breeze FM. Is that 105.3 here in Grand Cayman? And what is it on our sister islands? 91.9? Wow. Come on, Miss Susan. No, I want Miss Susan to say it. Come on, Miss Susan. Share it to... All right, 105.3. I know some of you say, boy, you give her trouble. But if I don't, who will? I mean, Mr. Art, he's so respectful to her. And, but he told me it's probably because he's afraid of her, you see. She is good. So I got to give Miss Susan a little bit of, keep her on her toes, 949-8037, 949-8037, or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Now, quick call from a guy who was just following up it's interesting. And we got some people in this community who are very knowledgeable. Maybe because the work that they do, they have particular knowledge of that subject. Maybe they're lawyers who do a lot of conveyancing. Maybe they're people who work, with land surveyors or developers or what have you. And not only because of their education, their experience, they have a lot of knowledge they can share. So a fellow called just during the break, and he says that if you look at land, and I'm not a land expert in any which way, people are going to be grappling with access. There was an issue long ago. We thought we may have resolved it, with the cadastral survey. We may, think we have the issue all resolved because we probably have, he says, and I think that this is honestly true, one of the best land registry systems in the world. But it says it's going to be increasingly issues, not only when lands are being developed, but when they're being redeveloped. And you live in a certain area and you think, okay, I can get to my area because this is the road I take. The road seems to be the intended road. Well, was that legally acquired, or was it legally registered? He gave us an example. Whether you want to say it's the political failures over the years, whether you want to say it's the misinterpretation, misapplication, maybe just a misunderstanding, maybe it's just a passive approach. But he says if you look at the whole issue of beach access, people thought that this is what it meant, that this particular point of entry and exit was the access, that using the beach meant the beach, not just the 2 inches. And the guy says, okay, I'm exaggerating, of a little bit of water that you have as public right away. That was not addressed and could become a serious problem going forward for everybody. But what about, you've seen it in the media, the owners at the Britannia, the former Hyatt and the like, and the new owner saying, well, we're not quite sure that you can do this and have access to that, and so the courts are going to decide it, and we're going to wait for the decision of the courts. But what about the people who have canal properties? And all of a sudden, there are issues. Again, we've seen it in the public domain. Well, we live in this community, and people are coming down the canals, and with their boats, and they're making all sorts of noise all day long, every day of the week. They're leaving their boats abandoned. They're anchoring and blocking the canals. The question is, what if that was a physical road, into the development, into the subdivision? Would you look at it differently? Just because it's a canal, is it still a means of, getting people to and fro, a means of access and the like? Now, while you're considering that, as I was just speaking, with the guy and recognizing what he has shared previously, look at the public roads. We're seeing that vehicles have been abandoned. The government, perhaps after being prompted by residents, they'll remove vehicles, and then vehicles reappear. We see some roads, with the greatest respect, sometimes it's an area near an established, automotive shop, garage, or whatever we call them. Sometimes it's just a makeshift area. Sometimes it's just fairly vacant, convenient, accessible thoroughfare, and people drop a vehicle there. And as one lady, who used to host a talk show long ago, took to calling it, like ching-chings. They come and they pick it apart. And, today the car is almost in complete, order. And then the next day, windshield is gone, the door, fender, tires, and then you're just left with what may be the remnants of a chassis. And then it's picked apart. Eventually, over time, it's left to rotten down. So, how is that, as a indication of where our society is in relation to its tolerance to certain behaviors? Is that seen as dumping garbage along the roads, just like we see people dumping garbage, from their household appliances to their, little scraps from the kitchen table? Instead of putting it in the refuse containers for collection, we toss it out into the dikes or undeveloped lands in neighbouring communities and the like. Now, back to the fellow's call relative to access in and through communities. Do we have, over time, a right to drive through those communities? If we do, and then the neighborhood gets together and say, well, we don't want that, we're going to, restrict it, put up a physical gate. I do not know the area, but a fellow says something similar has happened in the Newlands North Sound Estates area. There are, from what he shared, there are large, I call them big rocks, he said large boulders that what seemingly is, two roads, but looking at it as one road, and you can ride your bicycle, you can walk through, but there's no way you can drive through. And for whatever reason, some of you may know more about it, I honestly do not know, I just trust the guy, you can't get that route. Let's go to our phones. Hey, good afternoon, welcome, you're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you today?
Sick, but okay.
Oh, but I pray you get better quickly and completely.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
You're talking about cars and the roads and so forth. I drove through Sound Road just a couple of days ago.
No, sorry, Sound Road. That's the one up Industrial Park going through that way there?
No, by the line by Flow on facing the red light.
Okay, yeah, by Reflections there that used to go past the old block factory.
Mm-hmm,
okay,
exactly.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I drove there a couple of days ago.
Okay.
And Sterling, I cannot believe the condition that road is in with the vehicles on just about every side of the road.
Okay.
The road in there. And I don't know if it was dumb if we went in there and started part that road off with these yellow car parkers. I don't want to call them stones, pavers or whatever.
Right.
That they could have did a whole lot better than they did when they went to try to make that as a one lane going or what the case may be. I mean, Sterling, we got representatives for downtown Georgetown, and I'm quite sure there's a representative for that area. And I wonder how often they drive through that road to see the condition that area is in, the vehicles by the galore. The road is just terrible,
Right.
Terrible.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that, and I want to ask the name. See, nothing happens, I think, just in a vacuum. Just yesterday, late yesterday evening, someone called and referenced the road, but didn't tell me the name, but I realized that's the name of that road. And I drive through that every now and again, and I see those little things that you're talking about where it kind of makes the road narrower for the vehicles and the like. But this guy was sharing that he had a couple of questions. He expressed the same concerns you have, the vehicles, how the road, the little, what do you call them, little parking blocks that almost comes into the road and makes it narrower. But he was asking the question, can you make a right turn? Now, make sure I knew he said which direction you're going in, but I can't tell you east or west. But so you come in from the airport and you make a right turn, and instead of coming down to Eastern Avenue, you make a right turn into that road. All right? And he's wondering, is that a legal maneuver? I don't see any signs there.
That's a good question, because what's happening, there's a public bus sits there every morning, and Chocolate has that little road blocked off, so whatever's trying to get in there, coming from the left or the right, coming from Georgetown or coming from, let's say, the new building there, the Flowers House, they can't see to get into that road because that bus has that road practically blocked off, you know what I mean? I don't know, Sterling, where we're heading, but I think if we don't start shaping up, we got to be all left behind sooner or later. And I also want to talk about Old Joe's Road. Is the same problem down there with all these dying cars on both sides of the road.
And now Old Joe's, sorry, that's the one you're going up to the back of there after you pass the Department of Vehicles, the government building, the Public Works. Is that Old Joe's there now, going back to the airport?
That's right, yes, sir.
Wasn't that called Red Gate Road some years ago?
It also has Red Gate. We turn off on the left down, and that was called Red Gate.
Right, okay.
Yeah. But what I authorities there, and years ago that road was not a full through road.
Right.
All right. And now that it's open, it's being taken advantage of with all these dying vehicles, or you want to call them, on the side of the road. And I think that someone really needs to step in and get those cars to go, because in a lot of we drive to there from the airport. And as far as I'm concerned, as a store, right, to our locals or us ourselves,
right.
The first impression our visitors are getting when they come to this island, you got to drive through a road that is covered with a lot of damaged cars, and this tarp out there blowing left, right, and center. It's a disgrace over there.
Can I ask of you though, because a few times in the past, even publicly, a few of the individuals who, whether they're taxi or operators or tour operators, and they're coming from the airport, so they have shared with us, even to an extent that some years ago, we had got, I don't know if it was a campaign unofficially by some of the taxi and tour operators to call me and say, listen, see if you can do something about this. After a handful of calls, I thought, this is an issue. We spoke to the Ministry of Tourism just to make representation saying, we've had this from more than a handful of people. Two questions though. That particular road, it says the Old Joe's Road, right? That road, why is that seemingly now being used by people from the airport? Is that the intent, given that, as you shared, it's all these derelict vehicles along both sides of the road?
Yes. I was told that it was with their part, the airport. I'm exiting out of the airport.
Right.
Remember, now we used to drive the other way going around the fire station.
Right.
And then back there open, and he was going through there to come up on north south to get down by Parkers.
Right. And at some point, there's supposed to be some new bypass coming from that area going forward to, I guess that would be the Esther Tibbets.
I heard there's something going to be coming, but I don't have no full proof on anything.
Yeah. Well, that's probably.
Something is coming.
Mm-hmm.
But it's needed real bad, And I was driving on my goodness, what road was that a couple of days ago? They're out here paving road, that's right in the center. But I was on a road a couple of days ago. I don't even remember the road right now. When that road, Eastern Avenue. When are they going to go down and do some work on Eastern Avenue Road? Eastern Avenue Road is ridiculous. It is ridiculous when it comes to driving down there. There's so much bumpiness going on, and it's pure gravel. The chocolate driving up is like the one gentleman used to call it the Barber Green.
The blacktop though. Yeah.
The blacktop is gone. There's no left now. It's pure gravel. But
yeah.
I tell Sterling, and I'll let you go, but you had a lady on about a week ago. She was calling to take on vacation, and how her daughter, could go and get such good shopping here and there. And the cost of living here came on so high, and the gas was so cheap where she was at, visiting her family. And, she's saying some in the words in regards of getting fed up, and she hope she might move away from Cayman or what the case may be. I just want to say to her lady today, you are Caymanian. You need to stay here and fight for your country. Don't let anybody discourage you. Because if you go away, you got to come back here sooner or later. And if you come back alive, God alive, you're going to end up in a government situation. Need assessment, social service. So you stay here now, lady, whoever you are, and fight for your country. Because we are too easy to give up. And that's what they want us to do, Sterling. To give up. And let me tell you, Sterling, sweetheart, today I'm not feeling well for the last week, but I ain't giving up behind me. I gotta live here. I may go abroad, but I'm not throwing no stone, and I will come back dead or alive. So I just say to her later today, don't get discouraged. You can travel from time to time, but everything has an end to it, baby. You just hang in there and pray to your God and ask Him to take you through, because He will take you through the storm. He will.
Amen. Yes, well. Well, I trust and pray that you feel better. I'm sorry to hear that you, like so many others, are down with some bug or the other. So get better soon, all right?
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye. That's the thing. A lot of us, out sick today, genuinely. Some of us, and I hope you're not too offended. You work every day. You don't like to stay home. We understand that. What you do is important. But then you come into the office sick. And then all of a sudden, other people get sick. And then you're not taking care of yourself. So you don't get better as quickly as you can. Then there are those of us, we clip our nails a little too short and we're looking for a reason to stay home. We're going to pause though. When we come back, let's take some more calls. Stay on the line.
CUC advises motorists using Watercourse Road in West Bay to exercise extreme caution between Tuesday, January 29th and Friday, February 1st from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. as CUC's crews will be planting new poles on Watercourse Road between the junction with Hell Road and the junction with Bolson Bay Road. Customers' electricity service will not be affected. CUC will have a number of vehicles and personnel in the area and will be required to temporarily block one lane on several sections of Watercourse Road. CUC thanks motorists and the public for their cooperation.
Hello, I'm Joseph Woods, the Acting Port Director. Our port facility is the hub of the Cayman Islands commerce and economic activity, handling $658 million in imported goods annually. From groceries to construction materials, all sectors of our economy depend on the port. But it is now 40 years old. Its infrastructure is degrading, and we feel the strain from insufficient space for both cargo and cruise operations. The time is now. A new expanded port facility is needed to allow both cargo and cruise to operate efficiently and to support our island's continued growth and development. Support the port, support our tourism, support Cayman's continued growth and development.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us. It's open line. Let's go to our phones. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
I'm good. This is Cresswell.
It's a pleasure, Mr. Cresswell. Yes, sir.
I want to, first of all, wish you and the entire staff of Radio Cayman Happy New Year.
Amen.
So today is the last day of January.
Well, you know what? Happy New Year every day. Should be wished. Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I enjoy every day of my life.
Yes, sir.
I would like to give my support to the lady who called earlier, and I know who she is, but I'm not going to mention her name, concerning that road. Well, it's actually a sound way. The road she was mentioning is actually a sound.
Okay.
Sound way.
Okay.
Unless they changed it recently, but it was sound way.
Yeah, these got changed sometimes.
North Sound Road is the one running across, from the round, going up to the Jake Scott, the Lake by Jake Scott, and then back to the roundabout and up, going up to cross Public Works and then North Sound Road.
Okay.
And you also asked, you're wondering if it is right, if it is legal to make a right turn.
Right.
To the best of my knowledge, it is legal to make a right turn.
Yeah, there are no signs there. Right.
Yeah, that road is actually, part of that road is a one-way. You can come out. You can't come out, you can go in. Up until, I think it's up just after you cross, before you get to where Mr. Pearson used to have that, his store.
Yes, sir.
And from that point on, going up, then it's two-way, but you cannot come out, and that's the reason why they had to put those barriers on the side to sort of narrow the road as a one-way, because people were coming out, in and out. Now, my conversation is in regards to all the derelict vehicles and, in fact, garbage as a whole. I have a problem, where on my property on Fountain Road, where someone parked a vehicle there, and I know the person. I've requested him to remove the vehicle. I've recently applied, over a year now, I applied to government to put some, those red stickers on the vehicles, for requesting the people to remove them. I've given in fact, one of the vehicles still have the registration plate on it, so it's not hard to detect who the owners who the owner is, but I know who the owner is. I've told the police, I've told the DEH. In fact, I filled out the form, but they refuse to put the sign on it because I have to pay the fee to have it removed.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm not one of those individuals who litter the place. I believe in conservation, and I practice as a conservationist. I practice what I preach, and but the lady who is responsible for the West Bay, Georgetown area from DEA called me one day late last week, and to inform me after I had made the application for them to put the red sticker that I would have to pay, in order for them to put the sticker on.
Right.
Because, I refuse to do it because I shouldn't have to pay for the sins of somebody else.
But it's not on the public road. Right? It's on private property, right?
It's a private property. Well, one vehicle is actually on the side of the road.
Okay.
But it's partially on my property as well.
Right.
But
yeah.
my question is, I mean, if the laws are not sufficiently strong enough for you to prosecute people who are committing these offenses, then amend the laws. I mean, we have a lot of laws on the books. The problem is the laws are not enforced. And the lady who works with the DEA said that, they make a lot of recommendations. They try to prosecute it, but they're prevented from taking any action as it processed up the line. So there's somebody within the DEH establishment that doesn't want to enforce the law, and I think it's time that this thing be looked into, because we already have a Mount Rushmore, but the entire Cayman Islands will soon be a Mount Rushmore. If they believe that building the dock in Georgetown is going to destroy a tourism product, they got a big mistake. Litter is going to destroy our tourism product, because people are allowed to do exactly what they want to do without any consequences.
That's the thing, though, especially when we look at vehicles along the road. As I was, listening to you, someone has shared that a couple of pictures, and presumably this is, public roadways, and it seems that, as this person is sharing, that we have public roadways. People put their cars there, or cars are dropped and left there, whatever, however you interpret that, and they pick the pieces, and that's okay. Littering in place. Why is that seen to be tolerated?
Because, Mr. Sterling, because the laws are not enforced. If a few people were taken before the court, and I mean, I think the law is $500. You don't even have to impose $500. You impose $300 or $400. When people have to pull dollars out of their pocket, they will think twice. The laws are not enforced. There's no use of having laws, and Cayman spends the taxpayer through the government treasury spends millions of dollars every year cleaning the roads, and as soon as you clean, people are coming right behind and littering the place, and there's no consequences. I am prepared to, if I see somebody littering, I'm prepared to report them, but the police or DEH will not take any action. I mean, they're eating up taxpayers' money, and there's no consequences to the bad habits that people have.
Now, finally, and just it's just your view. Why do you think that there's limited enforcement, lack of action on the part of people? You just referenced DEH, so you call them, the personnel come out or don't come out, or if they come out, they don't do anything. Why is that? Is it just
the thing is, those supervisors or those the minister responsible for the Department of Environment doesn't enforce the law. The buck has to stop with the one at the top. The law has to be enforced, and if you are not going to enforce the law, resign and give it to somebody else that will enforce the law. I mean, people, especially the ministers and those responsible, they are being paid big bucks from our taxpayer dollars, but they're not enforcing the law.
Well, you've raised a number of points, and I'm hopeful that as we listen to what you share in relation to just even derelict vehicles along the roadways and litter in general, but even this whole issue of ferocious dogs roaming the streets, whether individual or in packs, whether it's at Mile Beach or whether somewhere about in Savannah or other parts, that we pay attention to it and deal with it because it's the right thing to do. Any final thoughts you want to share with us, sir?
Yeah, since you brought up the ferocious dogs, you mentioned something earlier in your conversation about these ferocious dogs, and I think they got some correspondence concerning it. And if the person is wondering whether it's because of that particular area, why some action is being taken now. I thought the same thing this morning when I was reading the article. I said, I'm wondering if I made a report, whether any action would be taken, because this area is what we would consider an upscale area. Why they're taking the action?
Yeah,
and I firmly believe that has a lot to do with it.
Right.
The ordinary person is not recognized except on the day of election. The small man vote counts on the day of election, but after that,
all right,
he doesn't really work much.
Well, listen, thank you, sir. Please allow me, because I've got to make room for somebody else. So thank you, sir.
Okay,
and
thank you.
Enjoy your rest of the afternoon, and to the rest of you for listening,
Right on. Bye-bye.
Take to counsel what, Mr. Cresswell shared, and the other callers. And then tomorrow, be part of our discussion. Start your day off with Mr. Art in the morning for the record. Come back for talk today. We can get into all number of things. We're certainly going to have an opportunity to speak to you about the United World College and Avenue. Today is the end of the month, and it's the end. So if you're looking to get in your overseas scholarships, this is the deadline. I think it's midnight. If you're not there yet, still got a couple hours. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
Voice of the Cayman Islands, Radio Cayman.
We love our listeners. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.